Ciao ragazzi, we are here. We are here. Myself and Christian Rivas are here, and Serie A is back. We take on Sassuolo. It is going to be a tough fixture, but I'm optimistic going into this one. It's an absolute pleasure to be joined by my friend over in DC, Christian. Come stai? How are you, my friend?
Chilling, hanging out, trying to be like Mario at a bar right now, but I'm at home.
Yeah, fair enough. Shout out to Mario wherever he is and whatever he is doing. Thanks to the people that are coming into the chat. We've got 10 people that have decided to join us straight away on Inter Worldwide. Nicola says, Ciao Interisti. I can't stay on the stream for long. I just want to write down my prediction. 2-1 goals from Lautaro and Alexis, Barella and Raspadori, or Barella and Raspadori. We're going to talk a lot about this game because there's a lot that I know Christian and I will be able to talk about in terms of our team and Sassuolo's team. We share a lot of common ground with Sassuolo at the moment when it comes to the Mercato. There'll be a lot of players that we keep an eye on, and in my early thoughts, I reckon Toro and Sanchez are a great pick to set this game on absolute fire. Tari says he can't wait. Mattia Barella needs to show up in this game. That's another player who I think is going to have a big game, in my opinion. What's going on, Gia? Marvel, thanks for clicking. Javier and King Darian. Rivas is in the house. I know Darian is a Rivas fan. That's awesome.
That's my
really
boy Darian,
awesome.
yo.
Javier says, blessings and love from Jamaica. Thanks for joining us from over there. And Lashton from California as well. All right. Anyone watch the Juve game? Broma looked great. Oh, man. He pretty much forcing Allegri to sub out the $80 million gift that he got in January. Like, I can imagine the Juve owners and the shareholders' skin crawling as that substitution is made. Did you watch that game, Christian?
Yeah, I actually watched like the second half and the last part of the first half.
Yeah, nice. I actually watched it as well. Brozo is a big miss in this game, Jonathan says. Make sure you smash the like button, please. Rivas and Darwin FC in the house. Thanks, Sharma, for chilling.
I know he's asleep. I was about to wake him up to get on, but I had to give y'all that.
Thanks to the 11 people that are here. Make sure you like as well. Let's talk Sassuolo, man. Going into this game, it's good that we're at home because Sassuolo is going to pose a little bit of a threat. So what are your initial thoughts going into this game? Who do you think will have a big one? And then we'll talk some lineups, Christian.
I mean, who I think is going to have big ones probably going to be Barella, Toro, as usual, and Hakan. He's due.
Yeah.
I think Hakan's due a goal.
We're going to need him to be good, very good, because Brozovic is missing. That's the big miss for this one. He got his yellow card against Napoli, and that was all she wrote for him. Here we go with our predicted lineup. So it's pretty much what we're talking about. Ciananoglu's going to have to do the bits. I think with Vidal playing in the Champions League, we're just going to have to see Gagliardini on the pitch. And, that kind of scares the living hell out of me a little bit because I'm not too sure how that's going to go, man. But if that's the worst player on our pitch, then it's not going to be too bad. We need him to at least make some sort of performances. Bastoni is set to serve his second game of his suspension. Of course, he served the first one against Napoli, in which Di Marco actually did play quite well in that game. So it only makes sense that he still gets the nod for this one, although I am a little bit skeptical. De Vrij has looked quite shaky lately, Christian, so I'm not too sure how big of a game he will have as well. But Denzel Dumfries and Perisic, two very informed players. And as I said, and as I think you're going to agree, this is a game where Toro really, really needs to step up and score. He hasn't had problems scoring against Sassuolo in the past, and I can understand why fans will be optimistic. This is a game where he has to get on the score sheet. And I think Alexis is your next best pick because he wants to really maintain that form. There's even talk that we might even be able to keep him on the books if he agrees to extend his contract over 2 years, just to cut that wage down the middle. I can't remember where I saw it. It was a couple of days ago, but I wouldn't be opposed to that either. So looking at the lineup, Christian, I think we should still have enough to take it to Sassuolo. What do you think looking at it, man? Give us some of your thoughts.
No, I mean, I personally prefer that lineup. I think it's been overdue for Dzeko to be on the bench. He hasn't been as good lately, even though he still scored a goal 2 games ago. He's just been very wasteful, out of position, gassed, exhausted. I mean, he's been playing 90 minutes almost every game. So he's due to be benched.
Yeah.
And besides that, I like Hakan, Barella. Yeah, Gags, he's good at doing that dirty work in the defense. Dumfries and Perisic for sure. I mean, it's still a strong lineup regardless. DeMarco for Bastoni. DeMarco he's not ideal, but he does good enough in that left center back position.
You've been impressed with Denzel Dumfries' performances lately, man. He's really coming into his own position-wise, bro. You weren't too much of a doubter at the start, but he's really exceeding expectations and definitely exceeding his price tag.
Well, no, honestly, I remember at the beginning of the season, when he was a little shaky, I Like you would see that he's getting himself in the right places. He's just acclimating himself to the team. So it was due. It was coming regardless. He's been getting a lot better. Like the right back position isn't an issue at all. And now we got Perisic killing it the whole season. In my opinion, might be player of the season if you want to be realistic about it. He's definitely in the talks.
Yeah, 100%, man. Damian needs to get minutes in his legs, not to lose a resource. Yeah, let's get him off the bench and get Damian some legs in this game. It's the perfect game to do it. You know, if you can get a goal up, 2 goals against Sassuolo, and Sassuolo comes at you, Damian would be absolutely fantastic to bring on. Hoyan says Gagliardini against teams outside the top 7. I am fine with. Well said. They still need minutes in their legs. They still need minutes in their legs. And I believe Gagliardini grabbed the goal when he started against Spezia. You know, you could even argue that with Spezia's form lately, they're just as difficult to play as Sassuolo at the moment. So it's nice to see you, Antonio, in the house as well. No issues with this starting 11 for me. Once again, I hope Toro has a big game. I really, really hope he does. Let's go over to Sassuolo, change it up a little bit. Obviously, we're linked to a few of these gentlemen in the transfer market. There's 3 of them that we are linked with that is on the pitch right now. Sorry if my lineup isn't as visually appealing. It's a little bit slow, but big threats starting with Fratesi in midfield and Traore as well. As long as you give him space, if you give him space, he can hustle. But muscling up wise, he doesn't really cut it in Serie A. So I'm hoping that, Barella can make his physical presence known on his preferred right-hand side of the field, because I think he's able to muscle him out of that midfield 3 quite well. If you could, the hype around Fratesi, I think he's a good player, but I don't think it's justified just yet. Christian, like, it depends what you pay for players like this. Do you see him as the biggest threat in that midfield 3 coming into the game?
I mean, yeah, he's always their biggest threat, along with Berardi. Those are the 2 players I'd be looking at. Scamacca, I really want to see what he does. I mean, a lot of people have been comparing him to Pinamonte lately, but I want to see what Scamacca does. I want to see what Marotta sees a lot in this kid. I really haven't watched him as much as I should. They analyze how good he is. I mean, I get it. He's a top prospect, but I really haven't gotten to the point of watching him on a consistent basis. I used to watch Sassuolo a lot, but I haven't lately. But I want to see what Raspadori does as well. Raspadori is good, but let's see how he does against a good Skriniar and an average De Vrij and a pretty decent DeMarco, in that position. So it should be good. It should be interesting.
Yeah, I like it, man. I'd have to agree as well. Yeah, maybe a couple of agents in there, Hoyan, as well, man. Depends on who really wants that move. I know Raspadori is an Inter fan. I know Scamacca is going to be looking for a move as well. Yeah, I think if we can, if Skriniar has a really good game, he'll pocket Raspadori. I don't think that's an issue. I mean, you just can't beat Skriniar one-on-one, even against Liverpool. The guy was an absolute rock. He really showcased against the team with probably the best centre back in the world, Virgil van Dijk, that he's almost just as good, if not just as good. And I'll keep arguing that for as long as Milan Skriniar still wears our jersey, because he is that damn good in my eyes. If DiMarco can put in the same sort of shift that he put in against Napoli, then I think that we should be okay. And I expect another big game from Perisic, because he does like to shift in a little bit more and pick up the ball. Like, he's just playing insane. That's a contract we need to get sorted, Christian.
Dude, he's been our best player. And, for years I've defended him while people call him Perisic, and disrespect the man. But the man is a monster. Like, regardless what you say, this year he's benefited a lot from Inzaghi giving him a free-flowing role where he's able to cut in more instead of make passes, look for shots. So, and of course his crosses are always pinpoint. So, I mean, it's nice to have that option. And even with Gosens there, I would still give Perisic the nod.
Yeah. Let's have a look at some of our fixtures that are coming up, man. That's what I want to talk about next, because this is a game that can really kickstart some momentum. So before we go into that, man, how do you think the game's going to go? Give us a nice detailed prediction, and I'll go next.
I want to say 3-1.
3-1, nice.
They got to come back, and they got to do something after that Liverpool game. Again, it's not like the team played bad at all. The team played very well. It's just, again, reactions not being that good, finishing not being that good, a lot of players out of position. So this is a kind of a statement game for them right now. They still got to prove that they're the best in Serie A.
Yeah, fair call. There's 22 people here right now, which is really nice. I appreciate it. Make sure you like the video as well. Ashton says Raspadori, 7 goals and 4 assists in 24 matches. You know what? Those stats actually aren't too bad, to be honest, in a team like Sassuolo. I love the leadership in this team. And Tari says prediction 2-zip. I'm going to go 2-zip as well. I like a 2-0 in this game. I think that we can maybe get an early goal and then put it away in the second half whilst Sassuolo are trying to put pressure on us, because I love the idea of Dumfries getting behind the defense and able to square the ball up, and Alexis and Lautaro coming in on all fronts. But Mattia says, I have a feeling that Raspadori and Scamacca will give 110%. Yeah, I think so too. I just think that, this Inzaghi team is still a counter-attacking team at the end of the day. It really, really is. We've tried many times, and we're very good at keeping possession, very good at getting the ball in advantageous positions. But when it actually comes down to breaking down sides, we are still struggling. We are fantastic from set pieces. We're very good in the air. So I really expect us to take advantage of a counterattack and a Sassuolo who will attempt to press us. However, we just endured one of the best presses in European football. That level up that we've just had midweek, Christian, against Liverpool, I think that might be a factor in us being better this weekend, bro.
Yeah, I mean, all the players even know they went toe-to-toe with former UCL champion the last 3 years. They won it in the last 3 years, and we went toe-to-toe with them. It was just off of small, simple mistakes and a deflection that they scored. And again, I think we could actually take it to Liverpool in England. I mean, I don't think we're going to beat them, but at least we're going to give them another good run for their money.
It'd be nice to see Caicedo get some minutes, man. I wonder what's going on with him, honestly. But I don't think we bring him on as we need it. He was hurt, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's hurt.
Yeah, fair call. All right. Fixtures coming up against, after Sassuolo. We've got a decent run of form, my bro. I think if we can put Sassuolo away, it really will kickstart some momentum, because we take on Genoa after that. There's a Coppa Italia fixture in between there. But then after that, we'll also take on Salernitana, Torino, who are difficult, Fiorentina, and Juve. And then after that, Verona, Spezia. And then we don't need to go further than that, because we're going really, really deep. How do you see the next few fixtures playing out, man? If we were to just have a little conversation about Genoa, the first leg of the Coppa, and Salernitana, because those games are pretty close together, I guess you could say.
I see wins in the next 3 fixtures, and also against Milan. I see us kind of getting a little revenge. Again, luck. It's all about luck. We really haven't had any, and it's due. Milan just keeps getting lucky and lucky, but that luck's about to run out. And again, they got some hard games coming up too.
How hard? How sure are you that their luck can run out, bro? They've been doing pretty well, but Pioli's I would say they're the most tight-knit team in Serie A, to be honest, because they grind it out when they really haven't really been that deserving on the pitch a lot of the time.
Well, you got to remember, this is the same thing you saw with Milan last year, and then they started fizzling out. It's Pioli. Pioli's just not a top coach, in my opinion. Yeah. I don't rate him as a top coach to get you a Scudetto. He's a coach to get you Champions League, but he ain't going to get you Scudetto. He ain't going to get you out the group stage either in the Champions League. In order for this Milan to grow, they got to get a coach, a top coach, or a really top up-and-coming coach. Pioli is not a top coach.
Yeah.
He's average at best. He did mediocre with us. Again, we were a bad side back then, but he didn't take us to the next level. And even with other teams, he didn't take them to the next level. He's a caregiver. Yeah. He's a caregiver, pretty much.
Yeah.
Pioli has. He's lucky right now that he has a good AC Milan team, but Juve is not that good. And right now they got freaking Udinese, Napoli coming up. Then they still got Torino. They still got Lazio to play. And again, I don't think that Lazio game is going to go as smooth as it did for them in the Coppa Italia. You're going to Rome this time. It's different. So they still got a bunch of games ahead of them.
Fair call, bro. Well said. 23 people here right now. Make sure you like the video. Thanks for sticking with us on Inter Worldwide. Let's talk a little bit of the headlines as well, moving away from the fixtures. With Mercato coming up soon, I saw Dybala play today again. Once again, he just didn't really look like he was having a good time. Would you welcome him at Inter? Because I don't think we've spoken about Dybala, you and I, on this channel.
No, I mean, we've spoken off camera. I've told you again, I think a Dybala-Toro combination would be ideal and probably the best one for us. It gives you a lot of creativity, and it gives you 2 players that can play off each other. And they'll put Toro as the prima punta. He does it for Argentina, and he does it well. At
Yeah.
Inter, he's given a different duty and a different job. He's given the second striker role that will easily go to Dybala, who will work between the lines.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's good. It would be ideal to get Dybala in there with Lautaro.
It really would, bro. That connection would really, really be something, man. And even if Correa can return to full fitness and play well, then you've got a really, really good connection there going, man. I'm
Well,
excited for Correa to come back into this lineup. I reckon he's got a little bit of unfinished business this season when he gets fit.
man, you know what? Correa needs to get into his lineup because Dzeko's just not it, bro. Like honestly, Dzeko's not it for me.
You got to still give it to Jekyll for still being able to put it in the back of the net, though, despite all this other play.
Oh, I'm not knocking his goal scoring abilities. I'm knocking his other abilities. You know,
Do you think he's being used in the right way by Inzaghi? Because you can see how deep he has to drop. It's like playing a trequartista at the time. He's like a high playing trequartista, honestly.
well,
But he's slow.
well, listen. Tactically speaking, Dzeko's position is playing with the final defender. He's literally supposed to be your main striker. He's not supposed to drop that far. That's the thing that when you see him drop, he usually gets it in Toro's way, or Toro's not far enough with the last defender because he's asked to drop more into the midfield and into the defense. You see Toro come back and do defensive work, and that's the crazy thing. I don't think people analyze what he does off the ball well, nor do I think they understand the sheer tactics of what Inzaghi tries to do. Dzeko used to do this at Roma all the time. He would come down to the midfield to try and get the ball, but when he does that, he's so far out of position that it kind of ruins the fluidity of the game and the chemistry. So there's times where you'll see Toto play a ball up top, but nobody's there. You get what I mean? Like somebody has to be there to receive the ball. So someone has to be there. You know, and nobody's there. And that's the thing that benefited between him and Lukaku. You wouldn't see Lukaku do what Dzeko does. Lukaku will always be with that final man, hold the ball, and create space for Toro. You don't see that with Dzeko. Dzeko doesn't do that. He drops too far, and it's just one of those things that you're like, what are you doing? Your job is to play prima punta. You're supposed to be the main striker. You're not the second striker. That's not your job. And
Fair point, man.
Dzeko, with all he has, I think he's a fine player. I think he's great, but I think he's too slow. It's not really just him being slow. It's his age is catching up with him too. He's exhausted. He looks gassed most of the time.
He probably didn't expect to start this many games at this point in his career because, you know, when you start this many games, of course, tactically it makes sense to drop back. If he was to come in and as a substitute religiously in the 60th minute chasing a goal, he probably wouldn't be dropping that and he would be playing prima punta and just staying back the whole time looking to grab it. And that's what he's good at. So I think maybe we're just trying to hang on like by the skin of our teeth, bro, until we can replace him properly in the offseason, eh?
Well, Correa was supposed to be that replacement, but now we see Correa is not the replacement.
If you could go back, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but like I just really want to know if you could go back. Do you think Marotta made the right choice bringing in Dzeko at the time? Are you still happy with the decision to bring him in?
So I'm not against it because of the simple fact that Dzeko was the price savvy move. All right, remember we still got to maintain our books. Yes, we got all that money for Lukaku and Hakimi, but we had to balance the books, and that was a necessity. All right, Dzeko is not a bad backup. I think that the intent at the start of the season was just for him to be there and then Correa to make his way in with Lautaro. That was supposed to probably be our starting lineup is Lautaro and Correa and Dzeko and Alexis as backups because don't get this wrong, as great of a player as Alexis is and I'm a fan of his, I'm going to tell you, he is not the same player. He's not going to give you a full 90. He'll give you a good 30, 40 minutes. Easily. He'll give you a good 30 minutes.
Yeah. Well, I don't
it's
think
not blaming Dzeko because Martinez is playing terrible. If you watch what Toto does off the ball, he's not terrible. His finishing has been lacking. No one's going to disagree with you there. But you also got to remember, he has more goals than Dzeko. So it's not like he's not banging in goals. He has more goals than Dzeko already. He's got 11. Dzeko has 10. Dzeko's been playing 90 minutes every single game, and he's been there longer than Toto. Toto's been subbed out almost every 60th minute, and he's pressing the ball a lot more. So you got to understand what he's doing off the ball. Inzaghi has him as a support striker, the creative player. He's playing a number 10 role. Dzeko is not. If anything, Dzeko should have a lot more goals. than what Toro has. Dzeko should be having at least 16, 17 goals by now with how much service he's gotten this season. But he's missed a bunch of sitters. He missed point blank shots. He's missed headers, everything. And I get it. Strikers, it is what it is. I'm not saying he's a bad player, but you have to understand that Dzeko is not working with Toro. He's not working with Perisic. Dzeko's doing his own thing.
Yeah, fair enough, man. Sharma says Dzeko is top scorer overall. Let's not forget the UCL goals. He's still got the goals, man. But like the thing is, what I want to see is if we could bring in someone to take that heat off that number 10 spot. Like even if it's feasible to bring in Dybala on a free and just pay the wages for a couple of seasons, I don't think we'd expect to start Dybala every single game. It all depends on how the books need to look at the end of the season. I know what I would choose if I was playing this on PlayStation, man. But at the end of the day, you need to be realistic. We just brought in Caicedo to play, and it's only going to cost us 800k to the end of the season. That's how low risk the moves have to be at the moment.
So the whole thing is, with me, I agree if we bring in Dybala, but not to sacrifice certain players. You get what I mean? Like you want to have an ideal lineup of Dybala, Toro, okay? Those that saying get rid of Toro and bring in Dybala, you forget that our main problem this season with Correa has been injuries. You think Dybala hasn't had that same issue? If you look at his last few seasons, like Anthony just said, you're not expecting Dybala to play every single game. He's going to be rotated. Most big teams rotate the players. The thing is this. Toro hasn't gotten hurt like that. Can you tell me the last time the man's been hurt?
No, dude, he's very fit.
He's very fit. So when you bring in players like Correa, injury prone, Dybala, injury prone. We've been lucky Dzeko's not injury prone. That's great. He hasn't got hurt this season. That's awesome. He's lasted 90 minutes. I just think the man needs a break. And I think they need to work on the connection between the two of them because they're not in sync. I'm not saying Dzeko is a bad player. I'm just saying that it just doesn't work. It doesn't make sense with some of the stuff he does. And I don't know if that's Inzaghi telling him to drop down, because if that is that, Inzaghi, what are you doing? How is that? I can see this. Other players can see this. Other people can see this, but you can't.
I like it, man. Very good. And thanks to everybody in the chat that's bringing in a different opinion as well. That's what it's all about. Jono agrees with Christian. Toro's finishing is not great, but the dirty work off the ball is still great. Toro not looking good because he doesn't have the right partner with him. I think if we can grind it out this season with the forwards that we have, because what everybody brings to the table on their day is really good. Like if Correa has a good day on the ball, he is a fantastic physical dribbler to take it to defenders. Like they shit their pants from him. If Toro can have a good day, even on a bad day, he can still score a goal. And we know what it's like with Dzeko. Pretty much, it's gospel. Dzeko is still probably. Would you say Dzeko is still the logical one to keep on the pitch when you're chasing a goal, no matter how fatigued he is?
No.
I'd
bring Alexis in because Alexis brings in some quality that's just.
The next thing I wanted to talk about was Alexis, bro. So let's do it because, we got to talk about Alexis.
His quality is there. Like, he's very technical. What he does is he throws off a lot of defenders. And again, Dzeko, if Dzeko was coming off the bench, then yes, I'd bring Dzeko in immediately, but he's not. And he'd be looking gassed. Like, Dzeko should not be going 90 minutes. He shouldn't be going 90 minutes. That's just my opinion. Like, my man's in his mid-30s already.
He's 36, isn't he? 35, 36.
Yeah.
That's nuts, man.
It's one of those things, like, to me, I would probably bring in Alexis, the partner with Toro, because both of them can work very hard. And Toro can go and play prima punto and be fine with it. And Alexis can do all his work between the lines, which he's very good at.
Yeah, well, that is the expected lineup for tomorrow, man. So I'm excited. I would not start any other pair besides Lautaro and Alexis tomorrow. That's for damn sure. I think tomorrow that's a game for it. Huyan says, would y'all sacrifice Vidal, Sanchez, and Vecino for Dybala? No, not me. For me personally, the two Vs can go, Vidal and Vecino, at the end of the season. Although every time Vidal's stepping on the pitch, he's still making life very hard for the opposition at the moment. But for wage reasons, he will be gone. As I said, if Sanchez can agree something to stay on a cheaper wage, then possibly. But would you take this deal?
I mean, if we're going based off of wages now, I'd take it in a heartbeat.
That's Vidal 5, Sanchez 7.5. That's 12.5. Vecino, I don't know, but he's probably getting maybe 2.
About 2.53.
2.53. All right, cool. So wow, Yeah, you could half that. You could half that and get Dybala's wage and bring him in, because people think that if Dybala's coming, he's still going to ask for a 2.5 mil increase like he is at Juve. That's not going to happen, bro. This is Marotta he's dealing with, who he's dealt with before. Dybala would come to Inter, and he's getting what at Juve at the moment? Is it 6.5, something like
Yeah,
that?
about 6.
He's asking for 7.5, 8, and he used to be asking for 10.5, wasn't it? Like a year and a half ago.
Yeah, so the interesting thing about that with what Huyan just said, I hope I pronounce it right, is you send Vidal and Vecino out, and then you bring back Sensi, who's on a dry loan and actually doing well at Sampdoria right now. I mean, it's needed. If you remember, we've done that with previous players before. Chino Recoba, Adriano, we've sent them on dry loans before, and they've come back and integrated right back to the team. I mean, it's a smart thing to do so the man gets minutes under his legs. He needs it right now. Again, you have Hakan, Barella, and Brozovic doing very well. I mean, personally, I would have rather have kept Sensi for the Champions League. If we weren't going to have Barella,
yeah, in hindsight, it doesn't look good now, but we really could have used him off the bench against against Liverpool midweek.
Yeah, I mean, I think he would have been dirty against Liverpool. I think he would have really put Liverpool's midfield into a crisis there, because Vidal is good, but he's not
technical enough, bro.
Nah, he's not technical enough. Yeah. And Sensi probably could do just as good as Barella. You get what I mean?
Yeah, fair call. Emiliano says Martinez was supposed to be a top striker. He asked for the money. We gave him the money, and he's not performing. There's still justification to this side of the story, because when you do get your 6.5 million, but it's still a transitional phase for the team this season. It's not like I don't know, bro. It's a rough one for me, because during his bad performances, I'm reactive towards him, but when it settles, I'm not so bad.
But when you look at it, he's not the main striker. He's still the supporting striker. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I would agree that if you said, yo, Toro is the prima punta and he's not getting it done, boom, you have a logical argument. But saying that he's just not doing it right now is you're tripping. I don't agree with it. You're just being biased and you're tripping.
Yeah, fair enough, man. Lord Figo says Simi will deal. Yeah, no, all good. Simi will deal with AC Milan.
Let me go and come right back.
Awesome, I got it. Yeah, sweet. This is actually a good time for me to actually make a little bit of an announcement. Guys, we are looking for a couple of people, or at least a few people even, to join our team. We're looking for some content producers and anybody that's handy with editing videos and anything like that. I'm definitely looking for at least 2 or 3 people to join our team as soon as possible. So if you yourself or you know anybody on Twitter, Facebook, any of the socials, any Inter fans or any editors or content producers that will be looking to join a team like ours, especially some of you that know our team and what we're about and whatnot. So if you did know anybody that's interested, please by all means send them over, because we're definitely looking for a few more people to join. We've had a few great people join the writing team recently. So definitely let us know. You can inbox us at any of the socials on Facebook, Twitter, even Instagram. I'm sure we'll get around to it. So thank you to everybody who gets involved to the chats. It's very, very nice. What were we just speaking about before we left?
We were talking about Lautaro's contract and if he's worth what he's getting paid. I mean, I think he is. Do I think he should be better? I think he needs to be more clinical. Yeah, there's no disagreeing with me with that. This man needs to be finishing. But he's only getting like 2-3 shots a game because he's pulling 2 or 3 defenders with him. He's opening up the lanes for Perisic and for Dzeko. So.
Yeah, let's remember Dzeko was supposed to be the Lukaku bench replacement under Conte days. And now it's even later on and he's the starter for us under Inzaghi. So context really is everything. Shout out to Hamza, who's a Liverpool fan, but has been tuning in and being a follower of Inter Worldwide since well before we had any idea we were drawing them in the round of 16. He's been here for over a year. So very, very humble dude. So Hamza, you guys don't have the money to bring Lukaku back, replying to a comment up here asking, would we take Lukaku back? See, I don't like too much of this Lukaku talk anymore. For me, that's completely sailed in my head, Christian. What about you?
I mean, would I take him back if it's a loan? Yeah, sure. Yeah. Why not? We've seen crazier things. I mean, yeah, the money. This is the thing people don't get about finances. You can sit there and buy Lukaku for 80 million. Okay, cool. Then you just spread the payments out over 5 years. So you spread it out over 4 or 5 years, 20 mil a season. What do you mean you can't afford them? That's just world football. Look at Barcelona's finances. Even when they're almost $1 billion in debt. They still manage to bring Fernan Torres and other players in, but yet they're broke. It's
Fair
all
enough.
how you play out the money. That's what Marotta is good at.
No, that's all. I know it's good to see you in here, man. Very good to see you, my friend. Emiliano says, so why is Martinez and Sanchez will work when they are both the second striker? I think it's just all about chemistry and being opportunistic in our goal scoring opportunities as well. Just remember that Alexis Sanchez is still technically our best player. He's the only one that can really pull a cat out of a bag, I would say, besides Correa with the ball at his feet. And when Correa is fully fit, he can be that player, that clutch player, a la Hellas Verona. And the game, I think it was against Udinese as well, where he really pumped a couple of good goals in to get us the 3 points.
The answer what he's saying, Toto has played main striker for Argentina. So, I mean, it's not like he can't do it. It's just they don't want to play with him in that position. They look at him more as a support striker because of the work he does off the ball. Granted, I agree. If you're good at something, why would you change it? Secondly, the whole thing about Correa,
I think Sharma's talking about Martinez. He takes the most shots per game, and his average position is always higher than Dzeko, so he is the main striker this season.
I wouldn't say he's the main striker. Not the way he's been playing lately. He's been dropping so far deep into the midfield and into the defense. I really wouldn't consider that. Let's see how many shots he's gotten per game, because last few games he's only gotten 2 or 3 shots compared to the beginning of the season. Beginning of the season, he was getting like 5-6 shots a game. Now they got 2-3 defenders on them.
Yeah. I want to talk about this. It's been half an hour. There's still 27 people on here, and it's nice to see Sharma still awake, man. I can only imagine it is time where you are, bro, in Leicester. Matthias says we renewed Don Beppe. That was an important renewal. Now, that is a headline that has really, really gone under the radar this morning, and it's taken us 32 minutes to bring it up here on Inter Worldwide this morning. I don't think it was just Marotta, man. I actually think it was the trio of backroom staff. I think it was was Ozilio as well, and I actually forget the other gentleman's name. I always end up forgetting it, and then I look it up after. I think, how did I forget it again? But it looks like we've renewed all our directors, Christian, bro. It's a very, very good move to have that done on paper.
Yeah, no, that's dope. I mean, I like it. I think it's great. Marotta is our best player.
Yeah, but like just to have those sort of, people with that stature in the club willing to commit for another 3 years. You don't commit somewhere to a job like this if the whole house is burning down around you. You pack your suitcase and you run for the hills. Contrary to what the media and a lot of rival fans might say, Inter's burning to the ground financially. Suning don't have a bars of knowledge of what they're doing. We could be sold. We could not be sold. But 3 out of 3 backroom directors all renew at the same time. Doesn't make sense to me, bro. It doesn't add up, Christian.
Nah, but there's always going to be that talk in the back doors. It is what it is. Now, the main question is, what's going to happen this offseason? Considering whether people want to admit it, I know we don't really need to get political on here, but COVID's pretty much done. I don't care what anyone says, it's done. The world's not going to go through another lockdown. They're not doing it. This summer, everything's going to be open. Stadiums are going back to 100% by the end of March in Italy. So, we're going to see what happens.
Statement from Inter, FC Internazionale Milano is delighted to announce that CEO Sport Giuseppe Marotta, Chief Sport Officer Pier Ozilio, and Deputy Chief Sport Officer Dario Baccin have extended their contracts with the Italian champions for another 3 years. They will work under President Stephen Zhang until 30th of June 2025. Official statement from the club, all directors renewed. Happy days, extremely happy days, actually. I'm just so happy. It's just really good to see things functioning well, because these are the most important things at a club in this day and age, Christian. I swear to God, if it's not organized in the back room, if it's not organized from the top down, the team suffers on a pitch on a mental level that stands out like a real sore thumb, man. Would you agree?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, it's dope because you got to remember, he's the one that built that Juve dynasty. Not even dynasty. That one was like, you went Scudetto almost 9 years in a row. He built that.
Yeah, he really is a great transfer guy, Tari. So no matter who our targets are, Christian said it, he's interested in looking at Scamacca in this game to see what the hype is about and why Marotta is so keen on making a big move for him. Hoyan says Brozovic next. I would agree. It's definitely time to make sure that contract's sorted. What do you? I want to talk to you about the Perisic and Brozovic contracts there, Christian. If it was you, how many years would you give them both? For how much? How would you approach these two contracts, man?
Perisic, if I'm doing it from a business standpoint and not a fan standpoint, I'd give him 2 years.
Yeah, it's good to do it. I think we're looking at doing it on our own terms.
Yeah, no, I would do Perisic 2 years and Brozovic I time down to 6. No, 6 is too long.
You mean like till 2026, maybe?
Yeah, 2026. But no, I was thinking of that just because in case somebody want to come after him.
Yeah,
you got to pay the money.
So with Brozovic, I don't
4 years. 4 years.
I don't think he's keen on. I don't think he's keen on leaving, man. He's got his kid here and everything like that, bro. I think it's just dragging out a little bit, but I think it's all fine.
Well, he got a kid. He got a business. He has his own little coffee shop in Milan, so he ain't going nowhere.
No, he's not going anywhere, man. I don't think there really is much else to talk about except for. Oh yeah, what do you want to talk about, man?
What about Serie A talking about the tournament they want to hold during the World Cup?
Oh, you can talk about that, man, because I've only seen the headlines in a few sentences.
No, that would be awesome. I mean, it's genius because they're saying that Italy wants to organize a tournament in the U.S. during this year's World Cup using players not called up by the national team just to boost its international profile. I mean, it's long overdue, dude. Like, I can't believe that they're just started thinking about this. Do you not know how lit that would be?
It'd be great for you. Where do you think they do it? What sort of states, and how would you get there?
Oh, if it's November through December, California, Texas, Florida, they'll probably come to either DC or New York. Maybe DC because it's a bit warmer than New York at that time. But you got to remember the amount of fans that will drive to DC and New York if they were to play there. Every time they play on the East Coast, whether it's DC, New York, or Philly, the fans drive out. Philly's ideally, it's in the middle of DC, New York, and it's close enough for Boston. Everybody makes it there in 2 hours, except for the Boston people will probably make it in 3 or 4. DC is about 4 hours from New York, so it goes both ways. New York, of course, if you do it there, they're going to get a lot of fans, but the point is the city ought to increase its international presence. They're going to want to do it in every major city.
Yeah.
You're talking about – you said what?
No, I was watching La Liga the other day, and I was just looking at the camera angles and the way that they do their editing, and it's just next level stuff, man. Serie A needs to step its game up and look more appealing to the world because we're down to zeros and ones, like camera quality, bro.
Bro, we're still in HD while everybody else is 4K and UHD.
Yeah.
You're talking about 1080p compared to what they're using. You know what I mean? 2160, it's terrible.
Benjamin says this tournament will be dope if Italy doesn't qualify because we will see the top Italian players compete. What a consolation prize, eh? Thanks to the 26 people that are here. Go on.
If you think about it, though, I don't think Croatia is going to there's some teams that won't make it. So we may still see Skriniar there. We may see Brozovic, Perisic. I don't think they qualified for the World Cup. I think they're out, right?
You're still pretty. Oh no, Croatia. No, that they have to go to. I don't know if they qualify straight away or if they're in a playoff, but they're definitely not. They're definitely not eliminated just yet. That's for sure. I'm telling you, Croatia are not eliminated.
No, I know they're not eliminated.
You still think Italy are going?
I hope so. I pray to God, but I wouldn't be surprised. And if it is, it's freaking stupid. Did Croatia qualify already?
Yeah, they've qualified. No, they're qualified, Tyree says.
Oh, shit. Yeah, I just Googled it. They won their group. Damn, so who didn't make it? I know Slovakia didn't because Skriniar's there, and they were in the same group as Croatia. I thought Russia was ahead of Croatia, but maybe I'm wrong.
No, I know Serbia qualified over Portugal, and that's why we're looking at taking on Portugal instead of Serbia if it does come to that after North Macedonia. But I'm just not counting any eggs until they hatch, bro. So, yeah, we know that Bastoni is going to miss this Sassuolo due to suspension after our appeal was rejected. It was stupid, wasn't it, man? It was absolutely stupid. Article written by Simeone on Inter Worldwide. Alessandro Bastoni will officially miss Inter's game. versus Sassuolo on Saturday. The defender was suspended for 2 games after insulting the officials in the Milan derby. Insulting Christian Rivas. He insulted the officials. He said in a mocking way that he's a Milan fan and he had a crap game. Something like that. That's what it was, bro. And that got 2 games, apparently. How many games did Bonucci get for grabbing the Inter official on the side and almost slapping him across the face?
He got none.
0.
Yeah.
That's a shit decision, bro. Absolutely shit decision. But, well, if we can just get through this game, Bastoni will be back to face the likes of Genoa, Salernitana, Torino, Fiorentina, all the games that are coming up after this that, are just low-key, almost the most important part of the season. People can say that the most important part of the season is, the last few games, 4 games. Like, we're about to come up to it right now. Match day 27, 28-ish. If you can get a good run of form and win majority of your games between now and taking on Juve, match day 32, 33, whenever it is, that's where you pick up enough points to mentally psych other people out. So we'll see what happens. Christian, overall, you're still pretty confident that we could be the champions or we will be the champions at the end of the season?
Yeah, I still think we're going to do it. I mean, you look at it, we already had all of our hard games except for Juve. Ronaldo and USA. But honestly, I'm more interested in seeing that Serie A tournament than I am seeing that Qatar bullshit-ass World Cup.
Yeah, the authenticity almost feels like it's on an equal playing field with those 2 tournaments, man. That's the biggest fall of grace of a major tournament I've ever seen. Lashton says, let's get that second star. I agree. It's a good time to finish what has been a very enjoyable match preview with my boy Christian. Thank you so much for stopping by, man, and we'll convene together soon, hopefully with Inter putting up maximum points in all competitions.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Thank you for everybody. Like and subscribe if you are new from all of us at Inter Worldwide. Forza Inter. Ciao.